at least win the game.
If only Hanamura was in the map pool.
If only we had Hanamura, it would be the bane of B-Step. It really would be. But either way, we're going to be figuring out where we're going for map number 2. Or 3, excuse me. The one thing for me, it's going to be BOE and chosen by B-Step. Huh. The one thing for me with this series, and knowing that we're going to Battlefield of Eternity, B-Step's lost the early game.
Yes.
Pretty hard-ish, except for Dragonshire, excuse me. But I also want to say that I would blame some of that on Superstar's lack of ability to force with the Dragonite, as the famous middle keep Dragonite kind of displayed.
Yeah. They did pick Battlefield of Eternity versus Team 8, so maybe it is a battleground that B-Step are starting to be more and more comfortable with.
I do think it's one that they're obviously comfortable with, the fact that they're taking it there. It's just in my head, my first thought is like, well, you lose every early game, so what hope?
Yeah, this is
do you have
far
on BOE?
Snowballier than Dragonshire.
Yeah, it's like you follow that level behind you did on, Towers, for instance. Like, well, that's game at 8 minutes in. And it's a map that Superstars can't struggle to force with. The objective itself, I promise you, does that well enough. So it's going to be very important that B-Step plays a bit more controlled.
And drafts, whatever is going to help them make sure that they keep up with Superstars in the macro game. Hero thoughts that would work well for B-Step to make sure they do that?
Maybe for the early game?
Just making sure that they don't, fall behind.
Greymane? Greymane, I think, would be a really good one for them to focus on, too, considering the map. I talk about Greymane and how hype he is, but once we're on BOE, I will always be like, oh, gosh, please take this. I think I want the Greymane, or I feel like there's a really character-specific hero that could benefit B-Step here. It's not like a, King Caffeine Muradin kind of style is what I'm referencing to, but
okay.
I don't know off the top of my head. It's a thing in my heart. Sometimes I feel with my heart more than my brain. This is one of those few moments. It's rare. It's about once a decade.
One time on Battlefield of Eternity, B-Step got the ultimate poke comp with Sergeant Hammer and Li Ming. Had trouble versus Prismaticism's Chromie in that one.
Yeah, sieging up on mid. It was that was the first time we actually got to see one of the, the Sergeant Hammers on, outside of Naventic running it, Sergeant Hammer on BOE. Looks like Malf is going to be the first ban. That's really interesting. Considering Battlefield of Eternity, because Karazim is so good on this map, when you ban Malf, you don't first pick Uther. You can pick him in your 2-3, but you don't pick him as your first pick. And then you... Oh, man. We'll think about that later and talking about the second ban phase. But for now, first pick, it's got to be the Greymane, right?
I would hope so.
For Superstars...
Is there anything they're trying to deny and get? Is it Falstad again since he's up?
I don't think so. They might, if they really think that it's that big of a problem for B-Step. And Superstars, obviously, Hosty so comfortable on the hero.
He played a great Falstad game last game.
I mean, they could, but I wouldn't view any of it as that a deny. The Anubarak, maybe?
I don't know if the Malfurion was scrim focused, but B-Step have not ever drafted a support highly on Battlefield of Eternity throughout Part 2.
So that was what I was going to kind of touch up on when waiting. Well, I was trying to wait till we got to the second ban phase, but I think a lot of that comes down to, so because Superstars has already banned out the Mouth, and they're 2-3, they pick up the Uther, and then that's where you see the Karazim ban later on. So stabbing at like 3 different heroes, all good onto the map, and giving you by far tier 1. It would force a, Ariel composition, or maybe, Rhaegar, which isn't bad, but just still less comfort. Or
there is still Lieutenant Morales. APM's played that once on this battleground, and Lucio too.
Which is why I thought that it was a weird power play. For the game to make a support power play, I didn't think it would be on this map, right? Just because more supports stand out is really good on this map than some of the others.
Well, the Malfurion remains to be seen, the reasoning for that, but with the Nubrak taken, B-Step make sure they get Muradin, and it'll get Greymane, a great damage dealer for Battlefield of Eternity.
Yeah, so we'll see where I kind of goes. Expect one of the supports. I guess out of the last 3 games, or last 2 games we've seen, it should be 100% be the Uther. What do they want with it?
That screams Abathur to me.
Yes, and that could be a secondary ban coming out from Superstars. Probably
to make sure that there isn't a support choke.
Yeah, it will also deter a support choke. That is true. Oh, at least a support choke past the top 2.
Yeah.
Top 2-ish, being Uther and Malfurion. Sometimes it's just, you know, I stop talking and then I hear the music and I'm just like, this is really nice. You know, it's really
got the
hard.
need to dance.
It does, a little bit. What else for this draft on the side of Superstars? What do they want to see happening? They go Cassia. They get the Uther itself, but they go for the Cassia instead.
That's an early Cassia grab.
I mean,
one of the earliest we've seen.
does she do something? Am I underestimating the value she has on the race? Does she have anything?
25% bonus. Can she blind Immortals?
I don't think so. They can't be stunned or affected by any other CC. I don't believe so. So no, I don't think I'm missing anything. We'll find out. We'll find out. But for now, at first glance, I don't see any reason why BOE should spike Cassia up here. The Superstars going for it, man. They've got the very different draft than games 1 and 2.
Are B-Step concerned about any blinds being added to Superstars' arsenal? They already have a Nubarak. Could maybe be played by Goku if Stray wanted to play Johanna. Sometimes we'll see Johanna here and there on Battlefield of Eternity since her blinds can slow down attacks, but no, Artanis banned.
The Artanis band. So here's the Abathur, right? It's gotta be.
That's what I think it is.
It's just too good on top of a Murden and a Greymane. They ban out Chromie. Fear of Poke, not something they want to deal with. Makes sense with how much B-Step's been playing it. Whether or not they had interest in this draft, don't know.
Yeah, we've seen the power of Chromie's long-range poke to take down Immortals. Even if nobody else can get in, she can eventually siege down with Dragon's Breath.
Abathur is an option, but let's say B-Step doesn't go that direction. They don't want to go into the Abathur. What else do they want in their composition? Tyrael is good, but Double Warrior makes them play defensive. On the race itself, what heroes are up? Li Ming, double reset comp, so you could Li Ming Zeratul. Go to double reset with the Zeratul prep. Doesn't work well into Superstars draft considering they're all melee is pretty neat, but they're also decently high in HP.
There's Lunara to pair with Greymane. Greymane can go in and get the kills
Lunara,
off
Tyrael.
of the,
That's it, you nailed it. That would be an insane rotation here. They go Alarak, very defensive.
Finally!
And again
and
with the
Sergeant Hammer.
Going for the sit back, relax strategy. What is Superstars gonna do? How are they going to force that out? The Chromie's been banned, the Sergeant Hammer's been picked. It hurts.
Explain yourself.
Superstars. I know you want to pick Chromie right now. I know you do. But she's up there, up top of the draft, not down here. So what are you going to do to make up for this?
Dang, and Cassia will have a hard time gating on Sergeant Hammer.
Like Li Ming? Just a poke at her? I mean...
Stitches.
Yeah, actually.
Stitches.
That's a good point.
Do it.
I want it. I want it now. I agree.
There's already follow-up.
They have so much
CC.
follow-up. They have so much follow-up. They're terrible at the race. They just hook and they kill things.
They kill things and then they race.
Lily, Arthas. Gilly, wait, do you have something you would like this? Any analytical point you would
Ready for adventure!
like? Any analytical point that you would like?
I mean, the Lily is there to combo blinds with Cassia. This is a double support composition on Battlefield of Eternity. They're relying a lot on the damage of Cassia. They do have damage from Arthas and, believe it or not, damage from Lily. If you haven't been playing on 2.0 so far, she had her Blinding Wind buffed. Cooldown and mana cost reduced, damage increased. And it's against B-Step. McIntyre released a video about Lily, so I think he's probably not too happy right now.
Yeah. Lily, we've been talking a bit
You don't want Karazim now. There's a lot of blinds.
No. You do not want Karazim. Rhaegar or Morales. Morales makes them, or I guess Lucio. I forgot Lucio's up. That's a good one too. Man, this is
I saw Superstars heading here, but I wondered if they would change after Sergeant Hammer. But they are committed.
So there's a lot of really cool interactions that kind of happen with this draft. We have the Sergeant Hammer delay with the All-the-Rack. Those are things we've seen a bit more. But what I'm looking at is mainly just the Cassia, Lily, and the Sergeant Hammer. Like, how does that interaction happen between the double blinds? But the biggest thing has got to be the mobility. Not the mobility, sorry, the passive coming out from Cassia to be able to get that reduced, increased physical armor, take less damage from Sergeant Hammer while she's poking. So that's one less hero to have threat from Sergeant Hammer on.
Yeah.
So then on top of the double supporting, Arthas and Anubarak very self-sustaining. I feel like there's very few moments where Sergeant Hammer is actually going to be a problem. The same way she is normally, where she posts up, sieges up in the middle, and controls the entire mid part of the map. There's actually a lot of good answers on the side of Superstars.
I liked the B-step ban on Artanis to try to limit somebody who is objectively good on Battlefield of Eternity and take away one blind.
Yeah.
And swaps, too, versus Sergeant Hammer. They wanted to go into Sergeant Hammer. So that was a trifecta of a good ban for B-step. I guess it depends if Sergeant Hammer can stay out of the range of the blinds, where she can still at least put enough threat on the Immortal that she forces everyone to come in for engagements. And then hopefully Lucio can keep everybody alive. We'll find out. We're all tied up in this series, and we're going into Game 3 on Battlefield. It's gotta be Blinding Wind build. Gale Force at 1. I think it'll be that.
I'll be honest.
It is.
It is going to be the Gale Force. All right, so I'm not sold on the double support blind composition. I think it's pretty cool just based on the fact that it's got obviously multiple blinds for Cassia. But I'm not outside of that totally sold on it. Double support on BOE means you have no race. You just flat don't. Like, even when Tazadar was at the top of the meta, he still didn't see necessarily that much play onto this map outside of just a Tracer because of his lack of damage. K1 Pro is going to siege up, start up on the top turret. The members of Superstars look like they're responding.
This is K1 Pro playing Sergeant Hammer, McIntyre playing Alarak. Fully in our Superstars trying to get this pick. They've got Anubarak hanging out with Greymane in the bottom lane, so that'll be the 1-for-1. While we have a minute, McIntyre playing Alarak. Alarak's not a hero that we see a whole lot, but we do see on Battlefield of Eternity because he is combo focused. He has some self-sustain too, but it's all about if he could drag someone with telekinesis and then hit them with his big Discord strike, which silences them, maybe allowing the team to be able to get kills combo off of that. Speaking of combos, I Dream in trouble. Slowed, but disengages back out.
So one thing we have to look at for K1 Pro at the level 1, the fact that advanced artillery was chosen rather than going for the safe armor anytime Anubarak, Uther, Anubarak, or Arthas get that stun off. It just feels like...
Yeah, there are a lot of stuns. I thought that that would be picked.
And the fact that it isn't, I just feel like the blinds on top of everything is really going to make Hammer that much more useless. Because now, not only every time a hard CC is thrown out from either one of the warriors, she has to unsiege, then remove. But then when she comes back the next time, she eats a blind, and then those cooldowns are back up from the warriors. She can't just sit in one place and at least tank damage and be literally, and according to her role in that teamfight itself, a tank.
Yeah, that is interesting how that will work out for them. Stormbolt hits. And whether Superstars can keep on, if potentially, oh wow. There's the combo that we were talking about for Alarak. I think potentially maybe if they can try to eat the blinds away from K1 Pro, just making sure that there are other members that are closer to Lily so that they take that, because you can't control who that hits. Maybe that's an answer, but that does, no matter what, Sergeant Hammer is now more reliant on the rest of the team because she also doesn't have resistant.
Yeah, everybody is hyper-focused on cross-supporting and aiding now around K1 Pro on that Sergeant Hammer. The laning phase, or the Immortal phase that we're experiencing right now, extremely passive. Not even being overly defensive or testing the waters. It's just a bit of wave clear coming out from the Hammer. The gank onto Greymane on bottom, though, might be important. He's going to be dropped. So that is now a big win here for Superstars. What can they do on the Immortal HP?
B-Step are already moving down to defend, knowing that that should be the next area of focus for Superstars. Hammer hits King Caffeine, Dwarf tosses out. Looking to step back in, and B-Step's K1 Pro, who is blinded, hoping to get a setup so that Sergeant Hammer can start sieging down and damaging some of the members of Superstars. But with all 5 here, those health bars look strong.
Telekinesis splitting Iacona, throwing out the Frisbee. He's fine for now. What is going to happen here? Defensive posturing for B-Step as they're looking for the All-Arak defensive combination.
This early on in this phase, defensive posturing is extremely scary. But K1 Pro is just going to try to take down as much of the health bar as they can, and then eventually B-Step can leave. That was a nice combo hitting a Nubarak. King Calf, Dwarf tosses away.
McIntyre throws out a silence, lands on one. Telekinesis is up. Can he move him into the stun? King Caffeine is going to be gone there as the telekinesis only pushes them away. And now Superstars have themselves 10k shielding onto this Immortal.
Yeah, that early on, it's B-Step were in a horrible position just from the start of having iDream get taken out, and then Superstars able to move up, B-Step having to defend but not having all of their members, and especially not the one who could be sitting on the other side while the rest defended. It was just a bad start to that phase.
Yeah, it's not how you want to get things kicking off. And one thing, too, to talk about with B-Step's draft in this game is the fact that we often see All-Arak on this map specifically. We know for the defensive, and a lot of the times I do give it harsh criticism, like, just never All-Arak is not worth it. But this is one of the few comps I do appreciate it more just because of the threat that we see out of Sergeant Hammer and Greymane on the race. That wasn't, obviously, the last time, not necessarily the best representation of what this composition might do. But it's one of the, what I'm trying to say is one of the few where I actually kind of really respect the All-Arak pickup here.
Mass Vortex is more blinds from Lily to add to the Gale Force extra damage that she can do. With the double support bars, even in that last fight, when all of the members of Superstars were just able to sit on the Immortal point for a long time and stay healthy, that's what B-Step has to contend with. That's what they're dealing with in these team fights.
And they have the All-Arak silence, attempt to be able to remove the double support. It's just more of, they all got to be grouped up. The Sergeant Hammer's got to be in place. And if they do that, then they can make a pretty big comeback power spike. It's just, early on didn't work out. One minor misstep. Or I guess you could say B-Step led to a severe disadvantage out of Superstar, or out of B-Step here.
And the problem with that is that this is, again, Battlefield of Eternity. And with that level lead, Superstars are hoping that they can snowball. They won't be able to steal away the Bruiser camp here in the B-Step side of the Battleground. But I'm looking already at the build for Arthas, and with the double support that Superstars have, it's very possible that Superstars could take Syndragosa
and just win.
And win.
The game.
With heroics.
Exactly
in
how
the
we were
next
talking
Immortal.
about. That's exactly what we were talking about. B-Step is just not good at the early game. That's the best way to put it. Just not as effective as they are in the late game is how we'll put it here. Shaman Camp captured for Superstars as the Immortals are about to give us their 15-second warning. And when they do, B-Step has a large task in front of them, also known as getting the Immortal before level 10. Or that of Superstars level 10, because it is...
Kills would also be good.
Oh.
If they get some kills here and then get started on the Immortal, that would be amazing.
Combo out. Nothing to be gained. A lot of damage already on the K1 Pro. The Shaman Camp sieging up. We do have our Immortals. It looks like Greymane rotating out to get some damage onto that. The blind hits onto K1 Pro, but he's just casually sieging up, defending. They aren't worried about it. Half a level away is Superstars here from their 10.
B-Step have to figure out how to get heroic abilities. They need to get people into lane. They need to maybe try to use Sergeant Hammer and Siege if they can, but they are also very worried about a strong Immortal, and they're using the fact that this Immortal spawn is aggressive so that they can try to burn down the shielding as much as they can, but they're still going to be against heroic abilities. Superstars are so close to having those.
Yeah, but they are very lucky that it was cut to the 50% mark, because what that should do is it's not It's not game unless Syndragosa is used because of how weak the shielding is. It
Yeah.
forces a Syndragosa to end the game right now. It's possible. And if they stall out in this middle time, it's not even going to matter to begin with. We have Cocoon, Valkyrie coming out from Superstars. I'm guessing we get Divine Storm Jugs.
Cocoon's been used. King Caffeine trying to bust his teammate out of the point. Valkyrie was hit, but it was after APM came out of the Cocoon, but that doesn't matter. APM still is taken out. Jug of 1,000 Cups with Divine Storm, like you suggested.
Superstars! Oh my gosh!
Army of the Dead!
They're allowing them to come back, though, in this game.
They're going to play defensive. They go down for another pick, and they get it. But look at how much HP they've lost onto this Immortal, and they're not only that, they're allowing more time for B-Step to hit 10s because they can minimum a keep. We know that. It could be game past that, but they need to make sure they get this Immortal faster. That's why I wanted to see them when they all committed to kill one Greymane. I'm like, is that really worth it? Just kill the Immortal, take all the time in the world, and you get that keep.
Thrusters have been used now. Stormbolt 2. K1 Pro is alive. B-Step almost have 10. They'll have to back off momentarily until they can get those. They want to make sure they have all their members up. They cannot lose too many people now.
They cannot, but they will. Nobody's soaking top either from B-Step. Oh, man, that might cost them. We'll find out. The Valkyrie bringing back McIntyre. No kill yet.
He's guiding people away, had telekinesis. Faye threw out Lightning Fury, going to go around for flanking him. Yeah, he's drawing away resources for Superstars. Finn used Surge of Light. McIntyre heals himself back up with his Lightning.
10 just now picked up for B-Step. Napalm not going to be the BFG. Curse Bullet. Counter-strike here as Sray goes in. The keep is now going to be the focus for Superstars. The Immortal, though, taking a lot of damage. It is going to die. So what
Curse
is
Bullet.
The defense squad? Jugs is going to be dropped. Sound Barrier 2.
Goku has already used Army of the Dead a while ago, so Jug of 1,000 Cups had to be used to heal him back up. B-Step wants more kills. They do not want to get any further behind in this game that they already have. They miraculously have saved their keep.
They managed to save the keep, and the Cocoon has got K1 Pro unable to advance further. The combo comes in. Silence only hitting one. No mana on Desiree, so he actually could die. He needs to get that burrow, and I don't think he's got it here. Oh my gosh, the double support heals by a fraction of his HP. Keep him up. Sray is good to go. And B-Step, I'll give them this much. They survived the one thing I thought they would fall into. Right? It's not recovered because, unlike Dragon Knights, like in the last game, the next Immortal's almost as strong as the first one, if not stronger. So that's going to be a major difference. The Dragon Knight scaling, you know, it takes about 20 minutes for them to level up. This takes about 3. So they can't be as lackluster as they were in the last game, but they got the first step.
They protected their keep. They're trying to fight back, but they are still massively behind Superstars. The best news for them is that if and when the Immortals pop up, again, they have a defensive comp. They can sit around, they can try to use their stuns, their combos of Alarak to try to catch some of the members of Superstars if they get too aggressive.
29 seconds. Oh,
this is huge!
That is it. 30 seconds before Sray is going to be able to join the rest of the members of Superstars. What can B-Step do in this time?
Superstars are going to take down that keep if nobody comes back. No, they're moving away!
They're back.
Okay, now they're going back.
They see the Sergeant Hammer, and that convinced them, no, we can get this forward. McIntyre's here. iDream's already here. B-Step is getting the flank as well. Army of the Dead drop. Faye takes a bit of damage, but the keep is going to go down. How much does it cost Superstars? That is what we see answered right now.
There was the flank. Hammer of Justice caught King Caffeine as he was flanking. There's the stun hitting Faye. So far, staying alive thanks to the double support. Sound Barrier.
It's going to be dropped, pushing all the members. The mobility coming out from APM, though, is allowing B-Step to just never stop the chase. A new Barak is now coming back from the base and looking to join the members of Superstars. You know what? It's about sending a message.
Superstars got the keep. They got away. And they forced B-Step back away from taking out that fort. Now B-Step can go up there if they want. But that double support kept them alive through the chase of Lucio, the Sound Barrier. All the flanks.
Oh, this is a big deal. Another staggered death there. The fact that Superstars was able to get that aggression, find them out.
There's going to be another one because inside of this is a very sad K1 Pro.
It feels like she's crumbling pretty quickly. A bit faster than, you know, it feels like if BOE for BSEP here was a Jenga game, we didn't just take out one peg. We, in fact, kind of took a handful. It's
the difference of taking off the middle.
Yeah.
The middle or the two on the outside. It's just way more wobbly.
Yeah, and that's...
The foundation.
It's just not there.
It's not there.
At least not yet. Still, K1 Pro is defending. Oh, that is the telekinesis they need, the counter-strike.
There's double support. What are you going to do? Come here, McIntyre. He's going to get taken out. Divine Storm just to make sure. A 1 kill for Superstars. Staying healthy. B-Step would love to get a kill. Goku is so close, but between Uther and Lili, there is nothing to be done.
Nothing to be done. 5-man stands for Superstars. 4 for that of B-Step. McIntyre will be joining us once more in 10 seconds. K1 Pro gonna siege up, do what Hammer does best, even making Posty, you know, respect the positioning a bit more. One thing, ooh, hold on a minute. Stormbolt, the damage is out there. They need Arthas and Uther before they can move forward.
That was great protection of K1 Pro from the team. They're still sieging, but this is getting closer to Superstars getting 16. They're just hoping to take down this Immortal once again as low as they can. The flank from one side. Goku confirms a kill on Sergeant Hammer.
Srey solo, he manages to survive. Good boot coming out from APM, helping escort iDream out of here, even dodging the Howling Blast. Another one followed up. It looks like the members of B-Step will make it out, even getting him out of range of Valkyrie. But look at the Immortal, Gilly. It is just quickly going down.
Counter-strike. Soundwave from APM.
Another cocoon.
McIntyre is stuck away from APM. He was inside the cocoon. Hit so many people with Discord Strike, but APM late to the party.
I can honestly say that was the most effective Q out of Olarak I have ever seen,
yes.
Period.
Somehow B-Step have continued to stop Superstars from getting an Immortal.
They have. Because the race of Superstars is poured. The Divine Storm, Iacona can die and just win this fight for them. So they want to avoid getting the pick onto him. He's the first to fall. Let's see what happens.
Howling Blast. K1 Pro caught.
Clone's dead.
Lots of damage.
Excuse me, Ghost is dead. Catapults on bottom still kind of building. It's only a time game for Superstars. They don't have to panic. They know that eventually somebody's got to respawn there, and that's when they can move up. It's just whether or not they're all together to be able to do that, because again, with the double support, over the long sustaining fights, Superstars wins, but then there's this weird threshold where the double support can't out-sustain B-Step, especially that close to their base. And that is where we've seen B-Step be able to back out, get damage onto the Immortal, but it's never been enough, because eventually Superstars wins, and eventually Superstars gets the Immortal. They go in once more, not even needing their other support. The 3-man counter-strike, a lot of damage. Jugs healing everyone up. We've got another cocoon.
Cocoon must be sorted with, and they do. Telekinesis gets some time for the team, but Hammer of Justice makes sure that Greymane goes nowhere.
They got it, though. They, in fact, got themselves the Immortal. They denied it from Superstars, but what does Superstars do with this? Because they are still in hot pursuit, and if they get these kills, they can win the game. They back out. Superstars is going to return and rid of the Immortal. B-Step's bought time.
Time for 16s.
You know, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Maybe B-Step doesn't need to learn how to do the early game like the rest of North America. Maybe the rest of North America needs to know how
late game like B-Step.
Or needs to learn how to even mid-game like B-Step. The fact that they stopped that to not be at least an Immortal and another keep taking damage. They literally bought the only amount of time they could to come back.
I've got to shout out McIntyre. And I'll have to do that in a second because we've got an invade from Superstars. All right, B-Step, we're going to let them have it. McIntyre has been playing a lot of ranged. He did play a warrior He still flexes around. Obviously, is a very flexible player. He played 4 different roles at the Summer Global Championship with Naventic alone within that tournament. But he is making a name for himself with Alarak today.
He is. He's doing a very good job. One thing I wanted to talk about was Giant Killer on Sergeant Hammer. Remember when we were talking about like the Cassia effect rotating around with their physical armor and such, but then when you get the Giant Killer getting the ignoring of armor, suddenly Cassia can't just dance around and avoid auto attacks all day. It's a really, or at least take less physical damage. That's a really interesting interaction. I didn't think about that spike. It deters Cassia a bit more. Hasn't been relevant as B-Step hasn't managed to totally win into the team fight, but it's kind of cool.
There's also double Executioner now for B-Step. That's a huge damage spike.
Yeah, that is very much, especially the follow-up on anything coming out from the Muradin. 22 seconds, and that is the Immortal phase. They figured it out. Dwarf toss over. I've never seen it. That was insane. From Calf, he just saw a free camp with nobody on top of it. The Stormbolt just revealed the camp was free, and he didn't instantly Stormbolt. I thought for sure they were just like, all right, all in, let's do this.
Think how behind they've been in this game.
I guess that's true. 11-2. Maybe your confidence doesn't scream invade,
Yeah.
but I can tell you when I'm behind, the fight my opponent expects the least is always the one I want to take.
Right, but they have been behind for so long that I would not want to be the person who dwarf tosses over into a camp and potentially gets caught out, losing it for the game, for the team, when the whole team has been working so hard to get back here. That's a combo once again. Stormbolt to follow, forcing out Jug of 1,000 Cups as the first of many heals possible for Superstars.
Shaman Camp is escorting those catapults through to the core, which is drawing Greymane back to the base of B-Step. Valkyrie drops, pulls Lucio right in, and that is a free highway to hell there. Blown up Counter-Strike, ripping members of Superstar apart. Very big there, but McIntyre in the end is going to go down. 2 members dead for B-Step.
Hey, King Caffeine is doing his darndest to get a kill on Cassia. That and the Curse of Bullet goes out. K1 Pro speeding in and just gets obliterated in an instant. iDream is down. Only Calf left. This Immortal.
And the core is already taking damage. Greymane didn't go back to get the clear, at least not fast enough, and Superstars is done waiting around. They know this is their chance. They're gonna go for the core, and there's nothing B-Step can do about it. Superstars takes a lead in this series once again, 2-1.
Last Immortal phase seemed iffy for Superstars, but able to win, honestly, what may have just been in the nick of time.
I'm sorry. Every time I see this backdrop, I get distracted because I think I can just like a bunch of hand things behind me. I don't know. It's so, I get so distracted. So say your point again.
Superstars won what might have been just in time.
Yes. Right at the B-Step breaking point, right?
Yeah.
Where things just get a little bit too hectic to be able to deal with it. I'm worried for Superstars actually in this series because of that exact point you brought up. They had a level and a half lead pre-10 on Battlefield of Eternity and still managed to make it to 20 minutes for that game. They won 16-2 and it was a 20-minute game. It just shows the lack of ability to just win the game whenever it's available, not furthering their lead as hard as they possibly can. They're very comfortable with like, would you like to give us this with our lead? And if the answer is yes, they're like, okay, thank you. That was nice of you. And then they walk away with it. But if you ever put up a big enough fight, they kind of just are like, yeah, we don't know about this. And a lot of the times it costs them wins.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the posturing is enough to be like, okay.
Like against B-Step, we see what a weak team at forcing the game to end quickly versus a weak early game comes out to. It ends, a result is make it to 20 minutes, flip a coin. That is what it feels like it comes down to a lot of the time. Superstars will always win the early game. B-Step, can they get the miraculous fight in the end?
Well, I think this puts B-Step in a weird spot where maybe they would like to have first pick, but are they okay with giving up map choice? Because that might be where they get some sort of crazy strategy coming in from Superstars if they get to choose the Battleground, because that is Battleground focused.